each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Not quite done. I had to ask my wife to pick up some coffee filters. Coffee filters. And I just took a 20-minute power nap. Actually, it was more like 25 minutes. Look at that. The chat's working again. I just removed the channel and added it back on. Sometimes there's little interruptions and stuff. So, yeah. Oh, man, this life in this world can be tough sometimes, man. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what's really going on with us or how we think, and I certainly hope that nobody finds this one in bad taste. It's gonna be too awfully long. I have to be done by at least 4:30. Probably sooner than that because I got to put a podcast out and set up for the meeting. I should probably eat something. Sorry. Yawning's not something you should usually do when doing things like this, But it's not radio. It's not radio. There's a lot of rules in radio, like no dead air time. All right. So, man. Oh, not even sure where I'm going to start with this one. Yeah, this is probably a good place to start. Is it our fault that we are alcoholic? Good afternoon, Julia. It's good to see you. Is it our fault that maybe our parents did something that created trauma in our lives? Is it our fault that we were treated differently, put down, put away? I was a kid that I was picked on a lot as a kid. Been a lot of bullies in my life. A lot of bullies. Some of them I'm even related to. Let's kind of do introductions here. Let's put it on default. See if we get see if we get something different here. Yeah, that's better. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. I'm Dion. If you're here, please say hello. Whether you're watching live or the rewatch, it is gorgeous outside. Think about taking my laptop and maybe doing the 5 o'clock meeting outside. It's just too nice to miss, man. Of course, then the sun will go down. Then the sun will go down. And that'll get cold. It get cold real fast, right? Then I come in here, it's cold, and so I have a hoodie on. Oh, man. So, what's the answer to all those? No, it's not your fault you were born an alcoholic. No, it's not your fault you were born different. Even though there really is no normal out there, people try and strive for normalcity all the time. A lot of us have mental illnesses that might be beyond our control. These are, and a lot of these mental illnesses are paired with other things and stuff, and it's not always easy to maintain. I think is probably the best way to put it, right? So let's start with that alcoholism. Start with that. Now, the thing is it may not be our fault, but we still got to take some responsibilities. There are some responsibilities that will. So let me kind of rephrase that because it's not fair for me to say it that way. In my experience, and so this is for me, and there might be different paths for other people, but I found that I was going to have to take full accountability for everything that I was. And I found that there's only one person in this life that can save me. And it's me. I'm the only one capable of doing it. Nobody else in this world is going to be able to save me, man. Now, I might, there's a lot of people out there willing to help through their own experience. Maybe they're well educated in it. Hi, Amber. It's good to see you, hon. And chat's working. Yay. That's the only reason I did this. Make sure chat's working. I actually almost forgot because I took a power nap. Well, I tried, but I kept getting texts that I kept answering, and the cats. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will try not to yawn anymore. Hi, Claire Joyce. Good to see you. Good to see you. So I'm gonna do a little bit of repeating here, just real quick, because some of the questions that I answered, or some of the questions I brought up at the beginning, and some of those were, is it my fault that I'm an alcoholic? Was it my fault that there was trauma in my life, or there were people that made me feel unsafe while growing up? Is it my fault that the bullies picked on me because I was different? And the answer to that is no, it's not. But it comes with some responsibilities, and that's kind of where we're trying to get to. And it could be, it is tough to see these things when you are in it. My PTSD. If I was having a PTSD attack or episode or whatever the fuck we want to call it, everyone was the enemy. Everyone. It's a trigger that led me to falling back into survival mode, which is honestly my most comfortable mode because I know it very well. Even when I go to restaurants and stuff, I still want the booth where I can see everything that's going on. It's part of my survival mode. I shower quickly because I spent a lot of time in lockup and in group homes and shit. If you're in the shower too long, not only are you going to hear about it, but then people start stealing your shit. I eat quickly. I have to slow myself down because growing up, if you didn't eat fast, you didn't get seconds. If you didn't get to the line in time, you weren't eating. All right. And this is when I was a teenager. These are survival skills that I had to learn as a kid. I lived on Skid Row at 17. You think I didn't have to have a set of survival skills? You think I didn't have to have a certain attitude? You think I didn't have to carry myself a certain way so people didn't fuck with me? All right. And I was a kid that went from being picked on to stay the fuck away from me, or I will torture you. And I would too. You may not always. There was nothing better for me than creating paranoia in somebody's life. I loved it. It was great. I don't so much love it anymore. But these are all things that I had to learn in order to survive this ugly, fucked up world, man. You know. So to move on with that, to move on from that, no, it is not my fault. But there's only one person in this whole world that can save me, and it's me. I'm the only person. Nobody else can do it for me. I have a lot of friends that have gone through my recovery journey with me, gotten a lot of good advice, a lot of great support, a lot of experience that other people have given to me. I've educated myself. I've gone to therapy, done the steps. There's a lot of things that I do each day to maintain who I am and my own peace of mind. My own peace of mind. So, what are the responsibilities that I need? What are the things that I need to be responsible for? Now, there again, I'm going to qualify this. When it comes to other mental illnesses, if I was currently in the mental illness, this will be hard to hear. So please don't be offended. I'm just sharing my experience. 1. That's right. Well, what does it say, Amber? That we will not be rendered white as snow without God's help. We have to do the work, and that's the key. Yeah, God has my back. Yes, sometimes God even carries me through something, but that is because I did the work. Because he knows that my intentions have changed. So thanks for helping me qualify that, Amber. I appreciate it. So what's the first thing? My actions. My actions. I can't use the excuse of the fact that I'm an alcoholic for being for some of the stuff that I did in this life. Was I out of control? Yes. Did I make those choices? Yes, I did. I consciously made a choice to continue drinking. I had 12 years of sobriety. I had everything in the fucking world, man. It was a choice. Me going back out drinking was a choice on my part. Absolutely it was. What was the first choice that I made? I don't need AA anymore. I don't need support from people like me anymore. That was the first thing that happened to me. And of course, I would emotionally relapse way before I would physically relapse. I wasn't going to AA meetings for probably 3 years before I relapsed. And I don't even really remember quite when it happened. I don't remember the day I made the decision to not go back. There are a lot of factors there, like, oh, well, every 18-year-old's an alcoholic, but not every 18-year-old ends up on Skid Row because of their alcoholism, right? So the first thing that I have to take responsibility for was my actions. And I did that in steps 4 and 5. Okay. The feelings was a hard one. See, even to this day, I'm a pretty sensitive guy. All right. I'm a pretty sensitive person. Not just in the fact that I have empathy and that I care about what goes on with you, but sometimes though, and this hasn't happened in a long, long time, but maybe I'd read something on Facebook from a friend and I thought they were talking about me. And no, they're not. It's just that I could relate to it, right? And it felt like an attack, but it wasn't. It was me still in my own sickness, right? Now, those emotions there again, the one line I absolutely fucking hate is feelings aren't facts. God, but there were an awful lot of facts that led to those feelings. But it's true. It's true. And in my experience, oftentimes my feelings aren't quite the facts. But when I'm stuck up in my feelings, it's hard for me to see the facts. I know it is for me. It's really hard because I'm stuck in myself. I'll be stuck in my wallowism, in my self-pity and the things that I think this world needs to do in order for me to get along. Right? sometimes, that emotional sobriety that we talk about where it's, you know, I was making demands on people to act a certain way so that I felt better. Yep. And I would often change that too. Just depend on my mood. Really. It was crazy. And even I didn't even know. I didn't know. I don't know how many times somebody would tell me that I was contradicting myself. Right. And you know what I did then? Well, I'd gaslight them. That's what I would do. I would gaslight you. Well, you don't know how I feel. You haven't been through what I've been through. Because I can tell you now, most people have not been through what I've been through. It isn't until I came to AA and that bullshit died, right? Because there's 5 other people here right now that have been through what I've been through. Maybe you weren't maybe you weren't homeless and on Skid Row at 17, okay? But you understand the feeling. You do understand the feeling. Absolutely, you do. You understand my loneliness, right? So it was hard for me to accept the fact that my feelings weren't fact because it was really all I'd ever known. You know, um, I would, at home, what's his problem now? That one will set me off quick. Even to this day, it might set me off. And I will give you a piece of my mind justified. Okay. Now, I'm still going to say something, but it's going to be a little different. What do you mean by that? What do you mean? What do you mean? Here what's his problem now? What exactly do you mean by that? All right, because we're going to try and get down to some causes and conditions. I think a little different. All right. So, what is the next responsibility? Well, I have to be responsible for my feelings. See, only I can allow you to make me angry. You can't do that. You're not capable of that allowance. Only I can have that. I have that power, and it's an inside job. You know, we often talk about having that unsuspecting inner resource that we didn't know that we have. See, we had this, we have the skills. I didn't know how to utilize them. Yeah, that's a good point, Leisure. We all understand our lowest point. So I would challenge you to find your highest because that it starts to become healthy boundaries. And see, that's kind of what leads to all of this. Not only that, but when I take responsibility for my own feelings, then what I can do is change. I can accept that. I can work on it. I can move forward. In that, there's going to have to be forgiveness, self-forgiveness. That's a good question. When and where do we use our anger? That's a really good question. I'm trying to think. I'm going to answer that. I get angry quite often. Right? Let's say I'm scrolling through something. Right? Like I'm scrolling through and I see like an ad for somebody that's putting out that fake recovery bullshit. See? And I'm giving you a really good example. That shit pisses me off. And I always want to say something. I always want to say something witty, something in their face. And see how it's just not working. It's already not working. Do I really want to fight that? Okay, well, I still got the anger, don't I? I go live often. I try and redirect that anger to something a little more positive. Okay. Dion, why are you doing that? Well, because I'm feeling unheard by a lot of people right now. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe, but there's usually something internal going on that's triggering that anger. Maybe something I haven't talked about with somebody yet. Maybe I didn't put it on my 4-step. Man, I forgot to put it on my 4-step, and I need to go 10-step that shit now. I need to call somebody and say, hey, this is what's going on. And it can happen. For me, it happened a lot until I got to a place where I could start to do that. It was years of anger in the program, right? This was a little while back. So good question, Julie. I appreciate those. All right. Try and redirect it to somewhere more positive. Go clean your house. Go take a walk. So what do I usually do in that situation? Well, there's this X button in the top right hand corner of it, and I hit it. That way I don't have to see it again. Right? I'm not on social media where like I used to be, because it's a trigger for me, which is what leads us to the next thing that we're responsible for. I'm responsible for my triggers. This was harder than the emotions, because I really, 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 really wanted to chew you a new ass. Right? Yeah, do dishes, cleaning work, or just getting them out of the kitchen? Yeah. Something small. Maybe what's going on is there's something external that's kind of irritating you, but since you honed in on something, the one thing that I notice is when I'm searching for what is wrong, that is really when I tend to be at my worst. Yeah. I don't know how many times I'm in an AA meeting and I'm like, oh dear Lord. Like I went to a meeting yesterday and somebody read like 3 pages out, Drop the Rock. I'm like, and I'm not a big fan of that book. I'm going to leave that there. Right. And they're halfway through the reading and I'm not listening. I went out of my way to not listen. Okay. And I'm like, Dion, what are you doing? Okay. Well, you can either get angry about this or you can listen and be a part of. So instead, I took that dismissiveness, I took that frustration or anger or whatever it is, and I turned it around so that I could be a part of the meeting. I'm not always capable of doing that. Sometimes I leave a meeting, I'm like, I'm not going to go back to that meeting. So triggers, and I'm not just talking about, we're not even really talking about necessarily alcoholism here, because a lot of people have a lot of different things. Sometimes you'll see the videos where they're like, oh, look at this Karen who's asking us why we're sitting here. And it's like, well, did you even show the whole video? What did you say to that person? I find those videos very gaslighting, because I don't know what was said before. I don't know the situation. It's a pure assumption. Why was that person triggered? Why was that? Okay. Now, I'm going to use pronouns. And like I said, please, I'm trying to get to answers here. Pronouns. I have no problem with people, putting up their pronouns, things like that. If that's the new thing, I'm not going to put any. You can call me whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Just don't call me late for dinner, because I've been called every name in the book, so I don't care. But when I demand that somebody call me something specific besides my name, it's a demand. That is a setup to a trigger. It's a setup to a trigger. It's another one. My name's Dion. I'm a recovered alcoholic. You're starting to fight. It's a trigger. It's a trigger. I remember once on my, was when the Trudging Together group was up, and somebody put some ad out, and there was a crack pipe there. And people were like, oh, I'm triggered. I'm like, what the fuck's your problem? I'm an alcoholic. I have to look at alcohol all fucking day. No, you got to take care of your triggers. You got to take care of your triggers. Well, if you're walking down the street one day, you see a crack pipe on the ground, who are you going to yell at about that? Okay. It means you still got an alcoholic mind. It means you still have an addict mind and you haven't moved on to that. I see alcohol quite often. I watch a lot of drama. I see alcohol all the damn time. In fact, I'm getting ready to think about watching Shameless, and that's about an alcoholic father. Right? So I have to. I lost people on that one. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to point things out, and who knows if that's really true. So I hope I didn't upset anybody. But my triggers, I can't expect. Let me put it a different way. Safe spaces. Okay, is this a safe space? No. It's as safe as it's going to get, but inherently it's not a safe space, right? For years I tried to create safe spaces for everybody, but that would mean appeasement and demand, and it's something that I can't do. That means I would need to know every little thing about every single person that came into the room. What I can do is the best that I can. I can be nice, I can be cordial, right? I don't mind bending a little bit, sure. Right? There's a lot of times people call me the wrong thing. It is what it is. And of course, it's like, hi sir. Well, actually, it's a ma'am. Okay. No big, right? No biggie. But it's when it becomes a demand that it makes it hard for people to try and get to that. And when we're seeking it, then what's going to happen is it's going to happen. Somebody will say something not to our liking, especially when it's typed. Oh man, I really misjudge those ones. You ever see the Key and Peele one where they're going out and they're both reading the same thing, but they're taking it entirely different? It's pretty funny. It's kind of what I'm talking about here. Okay. So what do all of these things lead up to? If I'm responsible for my actions, if I'm responsible for my feelings, if I'm responsible for my triggers, you know what you get? A safe space. Here again, just like you're the only one that can save you, you are your own safe space. You're your only safe space. Yeah, absolutely, Julia. That's a great reference. It's like telephone. We all played it in school where you whisper, one thing into somebody's ear. By the time it comes around, it's not the same. It's always different. And we laugh at it, but it's kind of, it's like Mad Libs and stuff like that. Or the old books where you just put adjectives in and then you read it out. It was always fart and poop. Right? I'm a 54-year-old man, and fart and poop is still funny. It's still funny. What's the other thing that we get with it? Freedom. Freedom. I often catch myself looking for the bad. It's a natural thing for me. And I have to make that switch. Because, this world's really beautiful and it's full of a lot of beautiful people. Right? Now, here's the difference with triggers. Let's say I go to Walmart or something and somebody's being kind of rude in front of you. Oh, they're being rude to me. I'm going to do it. Right? Well, then instead, since I'm not taking offense, because I'm like, oh, this person's not really mad at me and I don't have any feelings towards it. Are you okay? You okay? You need somebody to talk to? Well, you don't know me. I know, but we all need somebody to talk to, man. I've probably been where you're at, and I just like to help people. Right? We call that killing them with kindness, right? Yeah, I could think of a funny dog farting. Is that why he's laughing? That's funny. Oh, so there's a freedom that comes with it. And that I know to be fact because I've done it. All right. See, my other mental illnesses come with this same kind of shit as the alcoholism. It's just kind of in different forms. So there's things that just like my alcoholic program on 10, 11, and 12, there's a maintenance that I have to do each day. And I have to maintain those things. Or what happens is I will slip back into those old behaviors. One of the ways that I maintain that is therapy. Therapy, man. The other way I maintain it is by helping other people. See, when I'm not so wrapped up in myself and my wants and my needs and everything, I don't seem to really be as mean to other people, you know. So, all right. Well, that was just something that was on my mind. So, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Got the 5 o'clock meeting in 38 minutes. Then we have a group conscience. So, I hope to see a lot of you there. It's turning into a pretty good meeting, man. Pretty good meeting. I'm gonna have to force people to start sharing the darn thing, but right. All right. Thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You. You know I do. Peace out.